90s pro wrestling. This is Dark Side of the Ring. Ludvig Borga. Real name Tony Halme. In order to remind myself that it's not Helm, I put the accent mark over the E. Okay. Evidently, he grew up in a pretty rough situation. His parents split up when he was 2. His father was a drunk. And I guess his mother was also. That's a very good combination. 2 drunks. And he just didn't have the greatest of childhoods. And he ended up making trouble, like unsupervised teenagers do sometimes. He wanted to be famous. So he started working out. Eventually he immigrated to the US. Where he found work in television commercials and bit parts in TV and movies. Excuse me. And at some point in the gym, someone said that he should consider wrestling because of his size. And Jim Cornette said what I said. Foreigners in professional wrestling have always been heels. And if a dude from Finland, the country we have no reason to not like, can be a heel, I mean, but I'm getting ahead of myself because one thing that he had a lot of trouble with growing up was he was what was called Finno-Swedish. What that means is his father was Finnish and his mother was Swedish. So he spoke both languages, and he had one good friend who also was Finno-Swedish. Finno-Swedish. They weren't well, how do I put this? Well thought of, well received in Finland. And the other kids were tough. So, like I said, excuse me, not the best life. And as I said, he made it to the US. He did all sorts of bit parts in movies, television, did commercials, and was starting to make a name for himself. But nothing big was coming his way. And he was in a gym and someone said, "You should wrestle," because he was so big. So he went into wrestling. He started wrestling in the UWF. And they actually did a whole show on that. Herb. Why can't I remember his last name? Anyway, I will link that in the end cards. And eventually, well, after that he went to Japan. He got kicked out of Japan because he was in a bar with Scott Norton, and he made some sort of off-color, I guess, racist remark about what particular group, I don't know. Excuse me. But Scott Norton took offense to it and got in a bar fight with Scott Norton. I wouldn't want to get in a bar fight with Scott Norton even if I was the size of Tony Halme. Yeek! Anyway. And he got tossed out of Japan. Somehow he got signed to WWE in 1993, and they didn't know he had an SS tattoo on his on the side of his shin above his ankle. So they had to make him cover it up so other guys didn't get mad. And tried to beat the crap out of him. And the SS, of course, was Hitler's army. And their symbol, of course, was, yeah, not good. In fact, I just saw it, speaking of their symbol, I just saw a thing. Please excuse the noise. It's the street sweeper. It's spring. They're coming out to clean the roads. I just saw a thing where, I believe it was in Germany, a theme park had put up a ride. And when the ride actually went up and started moving, it looked like a giant Nazi symbol, shall we say. It was a mistake. But people looked up at that thing and went, and that symbol, of course, is completely and utterly illegal in Germany. So they had to modify the ride. It was supposed to look like an eagle, but yeah, that didn't work out so well. So anyway, just a little context on that particular symbol. And of course, it was a no-go in WWE, so he had to cover it up. More so he didn't get beat up in the locker room, I would say. You know, the wrong Jewish wrestler sees that, and you're probably going to get punched out. But even just an ordinary wrestler isn't going to take too kindly to it. Most of them don't have those feelings. So, he lasted a few months. Ouch. He was supposed to be sent to Lex Luger, which I guess Luger did beat him, but he was difficult to work with. Just not a nice human being. Jim Ross said, quote, "He was an asshole, and that's where I'll leave it." End quote. He went to UFC next. He fought one match. He lost to Randy Couture in less than 3 minutes. And Randy Couture wasn't even anybody yet at the time. He was just coming up. He was arrested for steroid trafficking and guns. He was then deported permanently from the United States back to Finland. He went back and he was on the Finnish version of American Gladiators after he had a boxing career in Finland as a pro boxer. He was then on their version of American Gladiators which was just called Gladiators, I guess. He recorded a hit album. He wrote a lie-filled, hate-filled autobiography. Excuse me, where he used like racist terminology, and none of it was true. He joined a political party called True Finish, which was a known troublemaking party. They were a small party. He was a Nazi. And when asked, what party do you want to join, he said he wanted to join the Nazi party. Well, duh, look at his tattoo. He was also highly sexist, which I guess would be misogynist. He somehow won his parliamentary election by a landslide. How? Because he was a gladiator? I don't get it. He had another tattoo above his butt cheeks. Above one said exit, and above the other one said only. Okay. While I agree with that sentiment, as a female, because it's not just gay people who engage in activities there, straight men and women do. And I, for one, think it's an exit only. But I wouldn't tattoo it on my rear end. That's just strange. And it's tattooed in typeface, which is even weirder. So yeah. Yeah, I think, like I said, the funniest part is it's tattooed in typeface, which is funny. He was clearly not well mentally. He was heavily into steroids, painkillers, and alcohol. He had married an American woman. They had divorced after 3 years. When he was sent back to Finland, he married a Finnish lady. And at some point there was a fight between the two. He took a handful of pills, so she went to call their version of 911, and he pulled out a gun and tried to stop her. They fought over the gun. It went off, but he passed out from the drugs and was choking on his own vomit. He almost died. He was pretty brain damaged when he did recover. He had to resign from Parliament because his brain was so damaged. And he spiraled heavily into his substance abuse until he took his own life in 2010 with a gun. So yeah. It's actually a sad story. Sad and infuriating at the same time. Next week, it's time. It's Vader time. Leon White, Big Van Vader. So, now it's time to edit. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you next time which will be next week, unless there's some major wrestling news in between. And after that, I will see you next week for Vader, but I will also see you, oh my gosh, for WrestleMania. Next weekend. Not this weekend coming, the following week. So, I'm pretty sure. Nope, 2 weeks from Saturday. So, and I will see you before then for a full preview of WrestleMania and for a full lineup of the Hall of Fame. And what was the other one? Oh, just a review of both, but so yeah. So I will see you for that. So please subscribe and click the bell so you know when I upload, because this channel doesn't have a set schedule. So God bless you, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.